Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, and her knight that I need to give a name to, the well-rounded nerd. I am hopefully going to put some finishing touches on my obvious Knight Lancer. I have an event this weekend that I'm painting, and I'd like to use him. And of course, I'm taking him to Adepticon. Have not decided if the Titan's going to Adepticon, because in 3,000 points, I don't think I can work in a Knight and a Titan. But let's be real, the Titan's more for showing off than it is for practicality. I love my Titan so much. His name is the Bane of Monarchia, the vengeful spirit that arose from the ashes of the perfect city to seek righteous vengeance upon the sons of Ultramar. This guy, however, you can tell that he's going that that one is very much themed to word bearers. This one obviously is matching my Emperor's Children army. I know that the knights and the machines of war are all mechanicum. I still theme them to my armies. And I think a lot of people who get into the bigger war machines do that. And I know that the Mechanicus has its own look, but I don't play Mechanicum, so I don't really know, excuse me, what their look is supposed to look like because I don't get that into it. So I'm just doing it to my Emperor's Children. His armatures are complete, but I did something different with this guy that I didn't do with any other models. And as you can see, I have applied gold leaf. So I'm going to brush that off today and see how the application has gone. I've let it dry for a couple of days, and I've done a lot of smoothing with my fingers. It was not as easy as I hoped it would be, but it was not as hard as I thought it would be. That didn't make any sense, but that's my thoughts. And also, I'm building up a little base for him so I can have like some dead space marines around his feet. That might come later. I mean, he's table ready, but I'd still like to do a little bit more with and for him. And I was getting an idea of some of his plates and stuff, what it's gonna cover on him, so I can get an idea of where I really need to apply paint and where I don't have to. I kind of want like a stared look to this, like he's stepping on the steps of something that's fallen, um, you know, which is kind of a cool look, but balance is everything. I don't want him falling over on the table, so I've checked and rechecked the placement to make sure he's going to be upright. But I position him. I put a pin in his torso so that he can turn, which I'm super happy about. Um, and then, of course, his arms are slightly positionable. That's one of the things I like about some of these big stompy robot models is you actually can move some of the pieces. So like goes this way, turns, articulates this way. So yeah, they're kind of cool. And let's be real, they were total impulse buys. I did not know how to use them in my army, but now that I've read more about them, I'm like, oh yeah, these guys are cool. So we're gonna come back to him in a second, because I've got some overhead video of painting him as well, but that's going to be some voiceover video. I'm looking for. I thought I had a thing of super glue right here, but my wonderful husband keeps absconding with the glue. Like every time I need glue, it's all gone. I just bought some more glue, and I don't see it anywhere. One second. Let me see if I've got some right here in my case. Nope, that is plastic glue, and I need the super glue. This is a painting bag of his. Maybe it's in here. Super glue. There's Elmer's glue, and I can use Elmer's glue. It just will take longer to dry. Um, yeah. Extra strong formula Elmer's glue. Yeah, I'll use this and just wait for it to dry. I'll have to airbrush this base tomorrow, which is fine because I can print out some marine bodies to go on it. So, good squirted amount here. When you're using Elmer's, though, you got to be generous with it. Don't be stingy with the glue. And use that to hold stuff down. Smush. But this will be fun. I've never like built up a base before, other than using like stuff out of my yard. Like I've seen people using the cork board to make really cool 3D effects on their bases, and I'm like, you know what? I think I can do that. I like basing. Basing has become one of my favorite parts of building my army. So I'm like, you know what? I can try a little harder on the basing. But this will just be set to the side to dry overnight. I'm not going to do anything else with it today because the night's not finished to put him on the base anyway. And check his feet. So put there. So I'm going to want to bring this piece a little closer. Measure 30 times, cut once. So it's the biggest piece going on the bottom. But Adepticon prep is definitely in full swing. And not just Adepticon, gaming in general. Actually, after I finish this night, this is the last Warhammer item besides basing these guys and finding bases for these guys. These are my Chorus Masters. Those are 3D printed. They didn't have guys with guitars or Chorus Masters for my cacophony. And then, of course, my leaders from my Slanesh box, they need basing. But other than that, I'm not painting anything else out of my Warhammer stash until I go to Adepticon because I've signed up for 2 really good painting classes, and I'm hoping that those will help me be better at my next projects. I've signed up for a color theory class, which I desperately need. Like I'm happy for the color wheel, but I'm still in that, like, I'm guessing if it's gonna work. I don't know if something's gonna work when I do it. I'm just hopeful. Um, Make sure I put this last piece in the right place to raise him up. He's a lord of war after all. He deserves to be raised up well. Okay, so that's perfect. Um, I'd like to know, not just make something that looks good by accident. I'd like to do it on purpose. That's something that when I was doing a lot of frontline training, um, you know, kind of like that show your work kind of thing. My husband just texted me he's playing Void Fighter with friends tonight. We would usually, it's a Monday night when I'm filming this, and we would usually be doing Aeronautica, but a friend of ours with 2 small kids was able to get out and play tonight, and rather than doing our usual narrative play, they decided to play Void Fighter tonight so that he could join in, which is what you do. So I don't need this cork now. But he just texted me that he loves me and I love him too. We literally just spoke like 8 seconds ago. So, um, hmm. So now I need to decide what to paint next. So just to give you an idea of what I'm doing, I had to do some paint mixing to get this look. The purple and teal. Oh yeah, what I was saying, like when it comes to doing things well, one of the things I taught my salespeople was if you're able to hit your number, um, but you can't explain how you did it, eventually your luck's going to run out because luck, hope, is not a business plan. And I don't want to do well in my paints because I keep getting lucky. I actually want to know what I'm doing and be able to duplicate, replicate, do it again. If you can't, if it's not scalable, measurable, or repeatable, it was luck. And luck's not good enough. So I've been relying a lot on the color wheel to help me match colors, which is where I came up with this look. And this is several different colors to get this look. At the bottom is fulgrim pink, and I built up with a couple different purples and then a mix, and then there's still a highlight that's going to go on here with a dry brush. I was going to airbrush this guy, but for some reason I started hand painting it, and I really liked what I was doing, and so I decided to do hand painting. But I'm also, with this sculpt, this job, not doing so much, what's it called, like individual elements. Like I'm trying dry brushing and filling and stuff like that. So, you know, just all these different techniques. So I'm having to brush off the excess on the gold leaf, which I'll have to vacuum off before. My dog is over here this time asleep. I don't know why. But I might need a stiffer brush, actually, to get all the excess off. Yeah, there we go. Getting all the stuff off that's not glued down. One thing I did like about doing this gold leaf process was the stuff that isn't doesn't have glue on it, doesn't stay. So you're only left with the shiny. But you do have to go back and brush off the excess. Like I tried to do it immediately when I first applied it, and I made a little bit of a mess. I just went back and did another layer, which no harm, no foul. And you have to get glue that's meant for this process. It's a little bit different of a formula than just your super glue or your Elmer's glue. And you have to kind of let it um, kind of semi-cure for like 30 minutes to half an hour, and then you can apply the gold leaf. Then you got to let it completely dry before you brush off the excess. And that's where I messed up the first time I tried, is I tried to brush off the excess before this had completely dried. Now this in the middle, this is going to get painted. There's a little leaf that's stuck to it, but that's not a big deal. It's going to get painted over. And like this arm here, I'm trying to decide how I'm going to paint the arms. I don't know if I want to do like a contrast and dry brush thing with them, because contrast doesn't really show up well on um, on black. I would need to put some white down over it for contrast to show up. I don't know. Because the bolder parts, I'm really happy with how they've come out. So I'm not sure I want to mess with that yet. It's just little things I'm deciding. I've got this really awesome gold paint for some other trim parts because it is Emperor's Children. So I'm going real Emperor's Children-y with this, with the gold and green is one of the colors that I saw while I'm using obviously teal and turquoise, but a green look is part of the Champions of Slanesh too, with the purple and the gold. So options, but brushy, brushy, brushy. Such a mess. Painting is never completely a clean process. Process for those of you who are in other parts of the world. Trying to make sure I don't miss anything that's loose. Oh, I was about to blow on it. There's a big pile of gold dust down here. I was about to make a mistake. A huge mistake. This past weekend, I participated in my first SCA fighter tournament, which I had done a war. I went to Castle War. Was that November? We did Castle War, which was a ton of fun. Um, and a war is a bunch of people fighting a bunch of people, so it's not a one-on-one kind of fight. Um, and I ended up being on the side that was defending the castle first. And they designed the scenarios for the wars based around historical events, and I was on the side that was defending this castle first. I forget the war we were recreating because it all happened so fast. Um, but it was designed for us to lose. So the first side had like 40 people, 40, 50 people in their war band, and they were coming at us in groups. So there was a group of us defending like a township, and there was like 10 of our party to represent the army over there, and then there was like 10 of us to defend another thing, and like 20 of us in the castle. So it was literally designed for us to lose. Like we were going to lose. There was no chance of not. But they put me in what's called the shield wall, which means I hold up my big old shield and I stand there and try to keep them from coming in, but I'm locked shield to shield with other participants. And a big event that happens at the with our portion of the SCA, the Meridias, and I think Trimaris. Those are the two kingdoms that put it on. Correct me if I'm wrong, any SCA people out there. Gulf War is coming up, which we're not going this year because we're doing Adepticon, but next year in 2027 we will be doing Gulf War, and it's 8 days of camping in a medieval encampment, which is going to be super fun. I'm really looking forward to it. But we need some more camping gear set up in order to do that. Just keep brushing until there's no excess coming off. Um, but so I'm in the front of this line, locked shield to shield, shoulder to shoulder with like three guys. So it's like me and then three other guys, and there's a row behind us and a row behind us. And our job is like 9 people is to keep 40 people out. Y'all, when I tell you I question my religion, my life choices, my sanity, when I was standing there and there were 40 dudes running at us. Like it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little frightening. I'm not even gonna pretend it wasn't. I was like, I'm gonna get hurt. I'm gonna break a leg. This is the dumbest thing I've ever decided to do in my life. Why am I here? But once I made it through, it was okay. I ended up having to quit War Day like halfway through, because my helmet was not staying on properly. Um, it's a borrowed helmet. The one I had was completely borrowed, and it fit sort of. It was not made for my head. A lot of the helmets are custom made. They are made for one person's head, and anyone else it's going to be, a try hard to get it to fit. And plus I've got black hair. And I've usually, even if I don't have my hair in braids, it's a lot of hair. So getting that to fit under a helmet is work. Um so anytime I put the helmet on, it would take a lot of adjusting to get it to fit right. And so I kind of fashioned myself a chin strap to go through the loops that were already the holes that were on the side of the helmet to kind of keep it on the way it's supposed to when you're supposed to have a chin strap. And it worked. I got approved to fight for the day because they do an armor inspection, a safety inspection. Look, my muscles are coming back. Anyway, um, I got more working out to do. Because I mean, this kind of fighting, I thought I needed to be in shape for Taekwondo. Whoa, this is a whole different kind of in shape. Which is good for me. I like building muscle. It's fun. I enjoy sweating in the gym. Um, I'm not a gym rat. I just literally enjoy like the brainlessness of working out. And then looking at myself afterwards and going, oh, muscle. Um, but after doing it, and when those guys were coming at us, like I almost ran away. I'm not gonna lie. If any of y'all see it, I'm sorry. Like I'm just letting you know. Like her inner coward rose up. Like I've done so much fighting, but it's all been Taekwondo fighting. It's not been this kind. I have fought me versus a bunch of people, but I've never done something like this. I've never done a war reenactment. And when we say reenactment, in the Civil War reenacting and the Revolutionary War reenacting, they're not actually shooting each other. That's the difference. We're actually hitting each other. Like we all have 14 gauge steel helmets or better. The swords and spears and everything are made of rattan with hard rubber tips on them. Like it's like you have to be well protected, armored up in order to not get hurt. Like one time I came from practice with a bruise about that big around and as black as my hair, my actual hair, not this hair. It was ugly. So I'm not scared because of Taekwondo of like getting hit or like the physicality of it. It just when you see 40 large men running at you, it was uncomfortable. But I stayed the line. I said stayed, not held. Hold means stop, so you don't ever yell hold. But I stayed the line, and honestly, I've never felt stronger in my life because we held those 40 guys out for like 90 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider it was 9 people versus 90, it's kind of impressive. And I was part of that. So, and then we lost. But then when my helmet started slipping, I was unable to continue. Um, but this past weekend, I was, you okay down there? Yeah, you just being a dog, making dog noises. Um, but this past weekend, I decided to do gold tip on the lance. Um, we went to an event. Oh, what was it called? It was a whole hosted by a canton. I'm learning the all the things in how things are ordered in the SCA. Do not ask me, I don't know. I just said I'm learning. But a canton is like what our group was like several years ago. We're now a shire here in northern Alabama. There's a bunch of us, which a shire is one step under a province, and a province is one step under a kingdom. So we get enough folks in like another 5 years to 10 years, we could end up being our own kingdom, which means we would have our own crown tournament and all that kind of stuff. But right now we're part of the Meridiers, which is basically most of the southeast and a little bit of Arkansas, I think, um, in the panhandle of Florida. Florida is the southeast. No, it's not. Florida is Florida. Just like Texas is not the south. Texas is Texas. There's the south, and then there's Texas. And I believe Texas would say the same thing. They're southern, but they're Texas. Okay, it's like they're just their own thing, and that's fine. I respect it. Um, But I like being part of Meridia's. I'm not looking to not be part of Meridia's anytime soon. Oh my god, that came out beautiful. Look at that. That's fun. So I'm going to unhook these because I'm going to decide what to do on these arms in a little bit because I want to work more on the body and legs. So let me scoop up my little mess here. But that's what I've been up to. But at that it was called, what was that event called? Wingding. That's what it was called. Wingding is what we went to. I think I posted it in the Discord. If you get into the Discord, I don't just post about like Warhammer and stuff. Like I'm trying to post better about nerdy events that I catch that are going on. A lot of those I get through Facebook, not gonna lie. So you might be navigated to my mundane Facebook. I don't care if you find me, just don't make it weird. Don't be weird. That's all I ask. Don't be weird. The second this gets weird, I'm done. She's happily married, but she also is a people person. I like all the people all the time, unless you're getting weird on me. I think that's fair. But um, someone was selling a helmet, and it was in the Ottoman style that I was looking for. Because we were going to order me a helmet a little bit later on this year. We ordered one last year, but the gentleman who was going to make it had some life stuff happen, so he wasn't able to do it, which is fine. We all have life stuff happen. So we were going to order me a helmet from where my husband got his helmet, and um, someone happened to be selling the helmet that I needed. Um, and I tried it on, and another knight who was there checked it and was like, this couldn't be a better fit." And next week we're doing a night of prep for Gulf War. Even though I'm not going, I'm gonna go to the prep night. The leather neck piece on the back is has been used a lot, and the gentleman that it came from just showed me a piece of leather that can be used to replace it. So gonna do that. So really, really excited. It is such a beautiful helmet, and when I tell you it fits me perfectly, like when I put it on, I was like, huh. And the week before, I had just gone to another knight's house to learn how to put what's it called rivets in to put in a chin strap. There's a specific I'm shaking paint if you wonder what I'm doing. There's a specific military chin strap a lot of them use, and he told me no, it was P something 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 something, but he'll tell me again when I need to know. And he showed me how to set rivets. I'm going to do a video setting those rivets. Is it still wet? Nope. My watch palette is no longer wet. I have a Turbo Dork wet palette. Of course I do. I love Turbo Dork. Look, there's only one sponsorship I want out of all of the vendor gum in the world. It'll never happen. But hey, Turbo Dork. I don't even want money. I just want more paint and painting supplies. I love Turbo Dork. I'll always preach the good news of Turbo Dork. Plus, they had a pink wet palette. What was I supposed to do? The top of it's over there. My knight is actually, his arms are laying on it. If these copper pieces keep it from going icky. So a lot of times if you open your wet palette after having used it, like 2 weeks later, it smells like junk. Put some copper in there. It could be pennies. I don't know how much copper is in pennies anymore, but also old pennies. But these are just for some copper that you just set in there and it keeps it from going icky. There we go. But I'm going to do some, oops, I just twisted that off. This is dark jade, which is the color that I'm using here. I'm going to use it for the outlines on his face. So next week I'll be going over to the war prep time, which will just be a good time to spend with everybody, honestly. And I'll get that piece replaced. I want to use this guy this weekend. I don't know if he's going to be perfectly ready. I think I'm going to have to use him at whatever level of ready he is because I also need to do some army reworking. Because 3 colors is what's required. And if he's not ready, I don't know. So now my major hobbies are tabletop gaming, not just Warhammer, but tabletop gaming in general, which includes the 3D printing because that's primarily what I use my 3D printers for. I probably should be wearing my computer glasses. It's President's Day when I'm recording, so I had the day off. I spent the morning I went up to my in-laws' house and helped them do some things, and then I came home and took a nap, and now I'm up painting. But anyway, my major hobbies now are, oh, that's a bit, that's not paint linkage. Okay. Um, tabletop gaming and SCA, which SCA encompasses several other hobbies as well. Like tabletop gaming includes 3D printing, painting, playing, hanging out with cool people. Like all of that is part of that world. And then SCA, I'm learning how to do things like set rivets. A knight helped me set the rivets in this helmet. Somebody came over, they needed to get the rivets out. The person who sold me the helmet had their own chin strap in it. And because I had been to someone's house the week before and learned how to set rivets, I got the rivets out so he could take that helmet with him. So, and then right now I'm ready on some aluminum rivets to come in. I can use for my helmet, and I've got some other rivets I'm going to use when I do my lamellar. Yep, she's going to be weaving lamellar. So my other big hobby, of course, is going to be SCA, but that incorporates more than just, oh, I'm in the SCA. There's fighting, which is building armor. I'm learning how to do some really cool things. Like I'm going to start after I redo the bathroom. When I say redo, I mean redecorate the guest bathroom. I'm going to use that cabinet in there for, because most bathrooms have their own cabinet, and that bathroom doesn't get used very much. I'm going to start fermenting my mead. I have the honey and everything for it. I took that class last year. But you have to have a place to leave it and not touch it, and I was not going to start until I could follow the instructions exactly. Um, so I'll be making my mead, but like just like with the tabletop gaming, the one hobby means a whole bunch of other hobbies came with it. So I'm learning how to brew and ferment, and I'm hoping to enter a batch in an arts and sciences competition here this year. It's going to take several months for that to complete, but I am up for the challenge. Um, I'm going to be learning to sew so I can make garb. My husband this year for my birthday asked him to buy me an embroidery machine and a new offset smoker for Christmas. So birthday embroidery machine, Christmas offset smoker. It's looking good, huh? What do you think? So that's the unpainted side. Well, the untrimmed side. It's the trim side. It's the little things with these that make them pop and stand out. It really is little things. Um, and then with the SCA, there's camping. Camping is a huge thing. I with that, my husband and I like to do water stuff. We're both kayakers and we like to fish, we like to do outdoor stuff. So I'm going to throw, even though camping is not purely SCA, I'm going to throw camping in with the SCA stuff because we do both tent camping and mundane camping, meaning using the camper that I came into our relationship with. It's now our camper. Um, he knows more about setting up the tent. I can set up the camper. We're even. um, but the armor stuff, the classes, learning to make things. I'm going to get into clay work and making like cooking vessels and eating vessels, drinking vessels. Not, I don't want to throw on a wheel. I want to hand raise things. So there's a lot that goes into the SCA, but SCA, other hobby. And then, of course, my garden. Um, I love gardening so much. And actually, next week, each day before work, I'm going to get out and do work in the garden because it's time to start preparing my beds. Yeah, I know it's January. Well, it's January. It's Martin Luther King Day when I'm recording this. So it'll be the last week of January I start prepping. So what I'll do is get up early before work and do sections of the garden that I need to either till or cover in cardboard. The cardboard helps reduce weeds because I have some sections of my garden that are really for flowers, not for other stuff. So I need those covered up um, to kill weeds and stuff. So I'll get out there and do that. I have some new areas that I'm gonna move my tomatoes and my vine things, tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers to another section of the yard because last year I discovered what indeterminate growth uh, produce is, and I discovered I need them in a spot where I can actually get to all the produce, which is fine. We live, we learn, right? We just keep going until we figure it out. So, and then I count going to the gym now as part of my what I need to do for the SCA because I love to work out. And a lot of my working out was very much directed at Taekwondo. But I think I'm deciding to not do um, Taekwondo for a while. And by a while, I mean probably several years of my life. It's been really hard moving and finding a school that, um, when you walk in as a high ranking black belt, people are either suspicious that you're faking it, which I understand, um, or they think you're there to take over, which I'm not. I literally just want to kick with people. And I can't find a place where it's not weird. I don't think it's intentional, so I'm not, bad mouthing any school or any system. Um, but I'm not gonna lie and say I'm something that I'm not. I am. I have two different black belts. I have a World Taekwondo Federation black belt, and I also have a Mudokwan black belt. And I am overall a seventh degree black belt, which is a master. Sixth degree is master in both. And being a master, it either makes people excited or it makes people mad. There's no in between. And I don't want to make another instructor feel uncomfortable unintentionally. Like there was one school that I thought, just reading about them online, it seemed like a really good match for me. I was like, okay, these people are gonna be cool. Gonna get in there, gonna work out. Like it was a similar style of taekwondo to what I was doing. So I went in there on a Tuesday to meet the instructor and talk to him. And I talked to him after class and was like, and I told him, at the time I was a sixth degree, I hadn't tested for my seventh yet. And he was like, "Well, come back Thursday to the adults class." I was like, "Totally, yeah, I'll be back." And I told him where I came from. I told him what school I went to in Nashville and everything. And I came back to the Thursday class, and they were just finishing up the kids class. So after that class finished, there was another adult black belt there. He was really nice. Seemed like I was like, okay, these people are cool. And I get out to go stretch. This is where it goes south. He's like, we just stretched a little bit on our own before class. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna stretch. And the instructor, came back up and asked me what level I was again. I was like, well, I'm a six, and that's what I was at the time. And he said, I can't teach you. And I was like, well, I'm just looking for people to work out with, and I think everyone can teach everyone. I was like, this is you know, a different style than what I came from. So there's gonna be things for me to learn. I don't want to work out by myself. Not only that, I didn't say this. I was like, I'm a built-in helper. You realize you can go on vacation because I'm here. like, um, I'm a free teacher. Um, but he literally, and this really sucks, he literally grabbed me by the arm and escorted me out of the building in front of all those people that were there. Yeah. Um, I was not expecting that. I really wasn't. Because I'm so used to a very positive martial arts atmosphere. It never occurred to me that people might not want another black belt like me around. So that was a little painful, not gonna lie. I think I'm gonna paint his hand turquoise and do the outline of it in gold. I feel like that's how it should look. And because I feel that way, that's what I'm gonna do. You know what? I could take the airbrush and blow out any excess. So, that was one school, and I tried several other schools. Like one school I went and looked at, that guy was charging an insane amount of money for not a lot of classes, and that's something you gotta be careful of in the martial arts world. There's a lot of instructors out there, and there's a lot of good instructors, and I get it. People are making a living, but he basically only wanted students who were trying for the Olympics, and he wanted like $240 a month to go to like 4 classes a month, and I was like, no. like I'm not going to be getting my money's worth here. And I was teaching a class for a little while, but the place where I was teaching, it was great. Um, but the person lost their lease, so I didn't have that spot to teach at anymore. So that's what happened to that class. And then on top of that, I went to another school. It was a Tang Sudo school, which nothing wrong with that. Tang Sudo and Taekwondo are like 90% the same. And the folks who were running the regular class actually really got along with them well. I thought they were lovely. Um, but they don't know what to do with me. Um, every class, I mean, I've been doing this for nearly 30 years. And one thing I will say is I've got a good grounding, not just in Taekwondo, but was given good instruction in other styles, how to compare, and and also learning. It's not just about like, oh, because we do it this way, that's what makes it right, but to analyze techniques and movements and understand why something is right or not. Because body mechanics are body mechanics. It doesn't matter if you're doing karate, taekwondo, kung fu, ishinru, judo, aikido, doesn't matter. Jiu-jitsu, good body mechanics are good body mechanics. There's a certain way to punch. There's a certain, like um, in taekwondo we punch like this. In kung fu they punch like this. In karate they punch like this. But you still only hit with these two knuckles because they're aligned with the bones in your arm. And that will give you the strongest punch. You always want to put your whole side into a punch or a block. That way, you're not just using the force that's here. That's not enough. You need your whole side. Um, just stuff, things like that. And a lot of the forms were the same, but a lot of the class would be spent when I was in there telling me, "Well, you may have learned this differently," and I'm like, at one point, I was just like, "Y'all don't know what I know." It's like you keep making assumptions, and I come in here and I do a form, and y'all like, "Oh, you know that form?" I'm like, "Yes, I do. I tried to tell you." It's like I don't want to go in there and be like, "Well, I am the most experienced person here. I can't do that." And now I am a seventh degree black belt, and there is a little bit of a intimidation factor there that I didn't account for. It's kind of like being a tall, muscly girl. So I used to get told a lot that, I intimidated people. Whether I meant to or not didn't matter, but I'm tall, I'm muscly, I am well spoken, and especially when I was in the process of dating, which thank God I'm not doing that BS anymore. I have gone on my very last first date. I refuse. If anything ever happened to my husband, God forbid, it would be me and a bunch of cats and dogs. Okay? Like, I'm not doing this again. But guys would literally tell me that, like, I was scary and intimidating. And I always, knew in the back of my mind that the right man would never find me intimidating. And my husband doesn't. He thinks it's great. Um, he thinks it's fantastic that I do all of these things that are strength centered. Um, you know, and I like being strong. I like being muscly. I'm a girl who has the ability to build muscle very easily, which is hard for a lot of women. A lot of women cannot build muscle the way that I do. You know, um, but if when I work out, I bulk up pretty quickly. Especially if I'm eating right when working out. That's the hard part because y'all, everything that's good is not good for you. It's not my fault. um, But yeah, so like class just gets to be awkward because rather than just doing class, a lot of the class is spent telling me, "Oh, you may not do it this way," and I'm like, "Just do class. Just I will figure it out. I promise." And they're like, "Well, our forms are going to be different," and they did have three forms that were different. They did, and I learned them in like half a night because dang it, if you have a seventh degree black belt in anything, if you can't learn the basic forms of a new martial art in like 30 minutes, you need to give your belt back. And that's what I told him. I was like, if I couldn't learn, I was like, it has nothing to do with your stuff being simple or not. It has to do with the fact that I'm experienced enough that I can analyze, understand, and do it. And I have enough experience to know the difference between good technique, bad technique, why things are done a certain way. And, one of the things that I loved about our school is when people came through, we didn't do any of that. We were just like, oh, hey, you're here from another school. Was it karate or taekwondo style school? Okay, cool. Keep your belt. Live your best life. We'll teach you our forms, um, over time. And that's it. But we didn't stop and tell people over and over, oh, well, you may have done it differently. You just teach the class. Everyone's from somewhere different. And they could not do that with me. And I understand. And I'm disruptive to what they're used to because I think I'm a higher belt than their instructor's instructor. So it was just all kinds of disruptive for them. And that's not good for any of us. That's not good for me. That's not good for them. There's students in there who, and this is not me bragging, um, but I am good at what I do. I've been doing it for a long time, and I can kick very high. I am very strong. I'm not the best. I've seen the best. It's not me. Um, but throwing someone like me into a small town school would be a little weird for them. And I've recognized that. And as much as I like the people there, it's awkward. Um, but I am somebody who needs martial practice in my life, and the SCA is 100% fulfilling that need for me. Um, I can't, and even though my taekwondo life may be over, which that's okay. Nothing lasts forever. We'll see in some years. I still practice on my own. I do my forms, I do kicks and stuff, but as far as like formally practicing at a school, I think that part of my life is over. And I think that's okay because everything can't last, and getting married and moving meant change. And also, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm going to be taking the videos about my Taekwondo school off my channel by the time this video comes out. This videos will be gone because I'm no longer affiliated with my old school or the mission team. Um, Me and the my senior instructor, um, he made it pretty clear to me. I think it was in October. It was before Thanksgiving. Um, that he was not super thrilled with my presence for whatever reason. I think a lot of it has to do. He's 84, and I'm not going to say that he, has anything any cognitive decline or anything. Um, but he got upset with me because our next mission trip was supposed to be to a place we had not been before, and some of us wanted to contact and talk to the missionaries um, who would be supporting us. Because those of us who have been around for many years, we've been on trips with people who just wanted basically money from us. I mean, there's no other way to say it. That's something you run into in any. It doesn't matter if it's in or outside of the religious world. When you're trying to do good things, you will run into people who just want money, and that happened a few times, and to the point that they didn't take care of us. They weren't kind to us. Like they didn't care if we ate. Um, and we didn't want that to happen, and especially since we had a whole bunch of new people who had been joining the team. So me and a couple of folks, we talked to someone who knew the missionaries. Was like, hey, can we get to know them? And they set up a meeting for us to meet them. It was a virtual meeting, and it actually went really well. Once they came on the screen, honestly, I took one look at them. I was like, yeah, these people are trustworthy. They told us about what they do, how long they've been, where they're located, um, and whatnot. But apparently, he was really mad about it. I didn't do anything in secret. It's not like I hid that I was. I don't do stuff in secret. I don't believe in that. You have to do something in secret. You shouldn't do it. It's wrong. But in the middle of that meeting, he got very upset with me. Like when I say upset, I'm going to uh, like he screamed at me for 30 minutes in front of the whole group and the missionaries that were on the web meeting. And um, about how he was in control, and basically that he felt um, he was mad that I contacted them. That all of our faith should be in Him. And look, I trust God. There ain't a human out there I trust without a tinge of suspicion. Like, um, and I would advise you be that way too. Don't trust any human 100%. But when I tell you, remember I've been here for 30 years, and it's been a long time for me to be with this group. But when I tell you the hate this man had for me in that meeting, it was it wasn't good. And when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And I I left, and I have not been back to the school since. There are people from there that I'm still friends with, but those relationships over time are going to evaporate. There's no way they won't. It was that location in that school that brought us together, and it's kind of like, okay, oof, you know what? That part of my life is ended, and I have to move on. And I always try to include a little nerdy encouragement in all of my videos, which not being I'll be honest, things were much worse than I described them. I'm trying to be light and not be overly cruel in my description of what happened. Um, you know, and from what I understand, he actually stepped down from leading the mission after that happened. Like, he's been trying to get people to find out if I'm going to come back without actually asking me directly. I'm not. Like, I can forgive you, but not trust you. Those are not the same thing. I've been trying to give, a little bit of nerdy life and encouragement in every video because I think that's important, especially to come from someone who's been maybe in a place you've been, or, an objective view, because that was tough to give up something that had been a part of my life for a long time. And that moment has kind of soured that martial practice for me. Um, it does not feel good to find out that you were an object of hate for somebody and you didn't know. Um, and there are some things there's no coming back from. You can forgive people, but there are moments that you're they're unrecoverable. And this was one of those. It was so bad that there is no chance, zero chance of me being in fellowship there again, especially when only one person who wasn't there and someone who no one stood up for me except for those two people. And what's funny is what set him off to start getting angry wasn't even something I had said or done. The other person asked something, and he directed all of his anger and feelings of, I guess, betrayal towards me. And what's funny is when I set up that meeting, the person who set it up thought it was a good idea for those of us who thought we were going. And honestly, I was going to go after meeting those missionaries. But there's no way I'll be in that building again in my life after having experienced that. Like, it was bad. It was not good. One of the worst moments of my life. I never saw a sudden severe separation from that. And it has really made me kind of not want to do taekwondo because the practice brings up memories. Whether I want it to or not, it's going to. Um, so that in combination with not finding a school, I don't think taekwondo is going to be a part of my life for a little while. So you won't be hearing about taekwondo. You'll be hearing about the SCA. And no hate towards my old instructor. It's not easy getting older, and it's not easy to feel like you're losing control. I remember when my mother, towards the end of her life, like, she and I butted heads quite a bit, and I couldn't figure out why. And now I do understand why. It's because when you get to that point where your mind is going and you know it is, where your body is slowing down and you know it is, and you can't stop it, it is that loss of control will bring up feelings of anger. Because I don't think there's anything that causes anger and strife in humans like not being in control. Like my mom was a nurse, she was a charge nurse. She was also on the board of a hospital once upon a time in Nashville. There's actually, I don't know if the picture's still there, but in Centennial Hospital, there was a picture of my mom on the wall with a quote um, about quality care because she was a quality care manager there for a while. I don't know if that photo's still there or not. I'd like to go trolling around. I took a picture of it when I saw it. She was actually there for a surgery, and I went to the this was a decade ago. Um, so I know they've done some construction, so I don't know if that photo's still there. But I'd gone down to the cafeteria to get myself something to eat because she was in surgery, and it was a long one. It was back surgery, so it was an all day thing. And I saw it, and I don't know why I never knew about it, but I took a picture of it. I have to go see if I can find that photo. I know I've got it somewhere on some hard drive. But, it's a reminder, of what people were like before they're what they become, because it's going to happen to all of us at some point. And it's hard. It's hard to see people that were once completely in control lose control. It's not easy. Whatever the reason, and I fully recognize that that was a moment that he lost control because he's getting to an age and a state of physicality that he can't always be in control anymore. And I'm pretty sure that he saw. I don't think he hates me. I don't think that at all. Um, I think he had a lot of feelings that were built up about many things, and I got to be the target that day. Um, and I didn't fight back or argue. Actually, this is the first time I have spoken openly about it, and since the almost 4 months since it happened, I've only talked to really my husband about it and a couple of people who were there. And there have been people to ask if I was coming back or going to be there. I didn't go to the Christmas party. I didn't, which I haven't missed the Christmas party in 26 years. Um, you know, um, Stopped going to mission meeting. I'm not teaching on Saturdays there anymore. Um, I was teaching on Saturdays. I'll never. I just got up quietly. I mean, I was crying. I was boohooing. Um, and I gathered my belongings. I went to my locker and got what was in there out. And a couple of people tried to stop me. They're like, "Oh, you can't leave this way. You can't leave like this." And I was like, "It's not an issue of leaving like this. When somebody directs those kinds of words and feelings towards you, um, believe what they're saying and don't keep yourself there. He didn't want me there, and that was a private business, and he has the right to not want me there." And that is my nerdy advice, I guess. Especially, it's a new year. It's still January when I'm recording this. And everybody's all Happy New Year, and people make resolutions and everything, but you know, don't make a resolution. Learn to recognize when you're in a space that may not be for you anymore. And everything doesn't last forever. And I'm one of those people that really values my human relationships. Like I love people. Um, I could lose everything I have, but as long as I have people, I'll be happy. As long as I have my husband and my kids, my in laws, as long as I have that, I'm happy. My friends. Because you can't get along in this life as an island. But the truth about human relationships is anything humans are involved in is subject to failure and falling apart. It's going to happen. Anything we build, even if it's amazing, will eventually fall apart. The pyramids have stood for how long? And we have to do how much work to preserve them? One of the most amazing feats of human engineering that's ever been achieved. And even that is going to fall apart eventually. And the lesson I've learned over this season is to remember that even the best things in our lives are temporary. You know, one of our friends who does SCA2, and he's been in it a whole lot longer than me, he's had, more people connections in it than I have, obviously, because I've only been in it for a year and a half, 2 years now. But he's had moments like that with some people, and sometimes that sours him on going to events. And he said He's enjoying watching me get to know it with fresh eyes because I don't have any of that baggage. And to be quite honest, I'm somebody that if I fall out with people and that relationship was really valuable to me, I won't care. I will figure out how to get back into relationship because people matter to me that much. Like that's how much I care about having people in my life. Um like, well, we yelled at each other, we're going to have to make up. Um I've done that a couple of times in my life where, especially when I was younger and hot-headed and didn't always know how to approach certain situations the best way. I have gone back in my life and made amends with people and said, "Hey, I did something the wrong way. Will you forgive me? And can we figure out how to have community together again?" And sometimes it has succeeded and sometimes it happened. But this, unfortunately, is one of those moments that was so bad. Um, there is no going, there is no community to be had any longer. And if that happens to you, one, I'm sorry. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to have picked something in your life that needs priming. I'm glad I moved that. I want to prime that before I do anything else to this. I'm gonna leave this here. Um, it doesn't feel good for that to happen. It doesn't feel good at all. Especially things that we don't think are ever going to end. We all have things in our life that we think are going to be there forever. We all do. You do, I do, and it's okay. Um, there are things that we just think are always going to be there, but even those things that we pour the most of ourselves into, and we make all of the plans that we can. We try to do everything right. You can do everything right and things still not work out the way that you planned. And maturity and growth means recognizing that that's okay and that you don't have to hate people. I don't hate him. I love him. He's been a part of my life for a long time. Learning a lot from him that has not changed. Um, Nobody can take away my seventh degree black belt. I have the certificate. And it's actually signed by my certificates are signed by the World Taekwondo Federation and the Muay Association. I mean, they're not even signed by my instructor. They're organizational certifications. Nobody can take that from me. I am tested high enough that I can create masters if I choose to, which no one has studied under me long enough to do that. But that would be really cool to get someone to the level of being a master. Like that would be really cool, actually. Now that I've said it out loud, it almost feels scandalous to say such a thing out loud. Um, but with nothing lasting forever, we have to become okay with that. This thing that I love is going to change. And maybe there'll be a place for me, maybe there won't. I hope there'll be a place for me, but if there's not, I think what we have to do is learn to accept what's happened in front of us and move on with grace. I don't know what was going through his head that day. I certainly didn't mean to cause any strife or anger or, you know, again, I try to do things very open handed. I'm a question asker. I am a lover of human souls. I've had a time in my life where I had nobody. So when I have an opportunity to be there for people, I am there. I have worked very hard in this organization, and none of that goes away because of that moment. It's not going to go away. I have good memories that I wouldn't have otherwise. There are people that I know that I wouldn't know otherwise. And I'm thankful for all of that. I hate that it happened. Um, but having gone through what I went through with my mom and other people reaching out and talking to me after it happened, um, I can understand why it happened. Um, and I can only speak from a place of I. I know I'm not the only person who's had a moment with dear instructor and they haven't come back. But that happens with churches, happens with Rotary clubs, happens with sports teams, happens in the SCA, happens anytime, anywhere you get a group of people together, there's going to be personality conflict at some point, no matter how good it's gone. And I think that's where becoming emotionally mature and caring more about peace than perception becomes really important. Because we may want things to go back to the way they were so nobody thinks there's a problem. It's okay. Sometimes there's a problem. And it looks like exactly what it is. And being okay with that is exceedingly mature. It's hard for a lot of people to get to a point where this thing happened that I didn't plan, that I didn't want, has happened. And it's changed everything. I don't like it. And I want everything to go back to the way it was. Not everything can go back to the way it was. Sometimes there are moments where things change and they're not going to change back. Whatever it is now is what it is. Make the best of what you have now. Be okay with what you have now because you're not going to get back what you had. It's gone. Both of my parents are departed this earth. I cannot get that back. But I have the loveliest in-laws you ever met. I call them my in-loves or my family in love. Um, my mother-in-law is one of the sweetest spirits I've ever met. Um, I have a great picture of her and my mom hugging at mine and my husband's wedding. It's on our wall. Like our moms were equally excited about us getting married. It's a beautiful memory. Um, the experiences I've had in Mexico and other places with Taekwondo, those are good memories. Those are happy thoughts, and those are never going to go away. And don't believe the misinformation that forgiveness means reconciliation. No, it doesn't. Look, me and I told y'all I got divorced when I was 23. My husband is my second husband. He's lovely, wonderful man. Don't ever want another one. But my first husband and I were 18 when we got married. We were idiots. And I am saying that like with my whole chest. When I was younger, I was like, it was all him. Now it's both of us. We were young and stupid. It wasn't going to work. We were idiots. We didn't know enough. We had no life experience. We needed to live. We should have gone through college before deciding if we wanted to get married. But you'll never hear me say a bad word about him because we were young and dumb. But that doesn't mean he and I need to be friends. He's moved on with his life. I've moved on with mine. I think in the, how old am I? The 20 years since we've been divorced, I think we have messaged each other like t- three times. Once when there was a death in his family and I needed to know because it was somebody that I was close to and he wanted to make sure I went to the services. And then I just wrote him a letter once just saying, "Hey, I just want you to know for my part in the end of our relationship, I'm sorry. And I hold no hard feelings towards you and you'll never hear me badmouth you because we were young dumb kids." And it was along those lines. I can't remember exactly what I said because it was years ago. It was long before I met my husband. And he messaged me back like 4 years later, because I think it was an account that he didn't use very much. But it's the only way I knew to contact him because I'm not out looking for his phone number. And he said the same thing. We haven't spoken since. There's no reason for us to talk. We both have lives apart from each other that are happy. I hope he's happy. I hope his family's happy. He had four siblings, and I hope they're all doing well. I hope he's doing well. Like that, sometimes you can wish people well and move on. And that's what I wish for my instructor. I don't wish him any ill will. I wish him well. But the time has come for us to say goodbye. Yes, some dreams come true. Yes, some dreams pull through. But yet the time has come for us to say goodbye. You know where that's from, you are my people. Everything doesn't last. So now I have new hobbies. Some of them are extensions of older hobbies. I've always been into the Warhammer lore. Like I've always been a lore girly. Love the lore. I've been reading the books since I was a teenager. Will continue to read the books. I'm in the middle of some 40K novel and some 30K novel right now. Like it's great. Um, I love playing. I love Adepticon. We're gonna take a break from Adepticon next year and go do um, Gulf War. Apparently, like 4 or 5 thousand people go to Gulf War. Pray for me, but no, it's gonna be fun. Um, but with our gaming groups, I still have some friends back home that I go up every couple of months to do a thing with to hang out. I have friends that I go kayaking with and things like that. You know, but having, new hobbies, extensions of old hobbies. YouTube's a hobby, but YouTube's a hobby that kind of keeps me honest with my other hobbies. Like, honest, a big part of me doing this is painting and talking about it keeps me painting, you know? Because sometimes I get bored of painting and I don't do it, so that's when you get a bunch of reading videos. Like, after I'm done with this night, I'm not painting any more Warhammer until after Adepticon. I'm going to finish my Yor statue and probably start on Lloyd, because I have finished um, Bond and Anya. So I'll probably paint my anime statues if I want to paint something. But I have house projects that I want to start working on. Um, we got shelves to put in the game room and stuff like that. So, finding the right angle where I can get the brush in there and I can paint on something else. This is the fun part. But that's one of the things I love about my marriage. Not just, that I have the best husband on earth. Can't tell me otherwise. But our world's got bigger and better. It's looking good, huh? It's just these little touches. Trying to decide where color should go, where dry brushing should go. Like this is an intense part of the process. Like I think I'm gonna put gold leaf on this, but here I'm gonna do the gold paint. There, so I'm gonna do turquoise outline. I'm gonna set this aside to dry here in a minute because I won't be able to handle it to do this part until some other things dry. But when one thing ends, that that could be an opening for something else. Sometimes those are relationships that end. Sometimes those are activities and friend groups. There's only one person from high school that I can truly say I am friends with today. There are people I still know, they're on my social media, but like actual friendship, there is one person from that I met when I was 13 in high school. And she's awesome. My dog is down here snoring. But if you're going through a season where things are changing in ways you didn't expect, it's okay. Change happens. Change is supposed to happen. I think it sucks when it's not a change that we chose. Like, I didn't choose for Taekwondo to not be part of my life anymore. And that's what makes it hard. People have talked to me like, well, I've walked away from stuff before. And I get it, but there's a difference between choosing to leave something and being escorted out the door. And, even though this one little Tang Sudo class might be a decent fit for me, whether I like it or not, my presence is a disruption to their class. And I don't want to do that to them. They're nice people. Um, like, my skill level is beyond what they think they're comfortable teaching. And that's fine. Um, Even just me kicking in the corner makes people uncomfortable. And that's okay. But I'm more than capable of going to the gym. So I'm probably going to, I don't want to write them a letter. I'm going to go talk to them probably tomorrow. and just let them know that I'm probably not going to practice with them anymore and that it's not them, it's me. It's me. But, you know, that's okay. If you're having to let go of something new will be there. When? I don't know, but it will be there. Like I have my dog, he's old man. We are probably in the last year or two of his life maximum. He's having trouble getting up. He's on shots and he's doing better. But he doesn't get 2 mile walks anymore. Like walking through the backyard is an accomplishment at this point. And he's under a vet's care, and I definitely adhere to what the vet says. I'm doing everything the vet's telling me. And the vet is have a very good veterinarian. They're like, as long as he's able to do certain things, you're okay. When he can't do these things anymore, he's not okay. And I'm thankful for every year I've gotten with him because my dog was a rescue. He was a senior dog technically when I got him. He was 7 or 8 years old when I got him. And that's going to be another change. We love our animals because they love us with no expectation. Like they just, especially dogs and cats, they are just happy to be with us. Like we have fish too, but our fish don't give a crap about us. They're just in their water. The fish are unaware of everything happening. I missed a spot with the ink there. I'll have to go back and do that. The fish are just existing, basically. Uh, but we love our dogs and cats especially because they love with an innocence. They are defenseless, and being in our presence alone makes them happy. And that's why we love them. We love them so much for being that way. And I do everything I can for him, but I know that in the next year or two, he Sammy won't be with me anymore. That's another change. But what we have to do is be thankful for the time that we did get. Because, even though my mom didn't make it to 80 years old and we didn't, like, I have friends who I used to be a little jealous of because their moms were, you know, their girlfriends when they got older and they would go shopping and go on trips together and all this kind of stuff. I never got to do any of that with my mom. She got sick when she was like 55, and I was her caretaker for years. We didn't really have a mother daughter relationship, it was a caregiver caretaker relationship. So I used to be like, man, I wish I could have had that with my mom. But I also had the peace in my heart that I did the right thing by my mom. It was hard, it was very hard, but I did the right thing. And I tried to make her final years as comfortable as I possibly could, especially since she didn't have the means to do for herself. I did it for her. And that was the right thing to do. It was hard, it's terribly difficult, but I did it. And I feel like, in some regards, having the wonderful husband that I have now is a little bit of peace coming back from God in exchange for everything I had to do for so many years on my own. I'm not on my own anymore. So, whether it's, organizations you're a part of, losing a beloved pet, you know, um, job change, unfortunately, the holiday season tends to be a layoff season. I don't know how that happened or why we did that. Not that there's a good time to lose your job, but when you're trying to buy your kids Christmas presents, it's particularly hard hitting. Um, it's a season of change. And if you're going through change, I hope this bit of chitty chat through this video has been helpful to you. Shared some things about myself. Nothing catastrophic. Like, I got other stories that you'll never hear. Those are not for the internet because I'm about that encouragement life. Even with what happened with my instructor, I hear me clearly. I don't have any malice in my heart towards him. Even when it happened, I was more in shock and disbelief. And you know what? He regrets what he did, and that's good enough. At least he knows. I would rather people do wrong and know that it was wrong than walk around thinking they were right, because that's when things are scary. When people don't know they've done something wrong. But my physical presence is not there anymore. So I'm looking for other hobbies. But I think between the SCA, gaming, and all the tabletop hobbies that come with that, my garden, working out, I think I found a good collection of things for myself. And of course, me and my husband take dance classes together a couple times a month. We love to dance. You want your relationship to really get strong? Go dance together. Dance. Like, no, I'm not kidding. Go dance together. Like, it is one of the best things couples can do. It's looking really good. On the legs, I did ink instead of paint, like back here on the shins, just to make it subtle. These pistons are going to get dry brushed. This has been dry brushed in dark silver. I'm about to give it a light dry brushing in gold, and I'll do the highlights in silver on it. But I'm trying to make this look beautiful subtly, if that makes sense. With my Titan, I was so intense on trying to make every piece I painted look amazeballs that um, I mean, it took me 2.5 months to paint that thing because I did every single detail, one detail at a time. It was stupid. It looks really good. Cannot say it doesn't look good. It looks great, but I'm trying to learn ways to get to the result I want without it taking me 6 years to get there. I'm gonna put some primer on that in a second. I'm gonna put some outline on this flag. When I sit down to do these videos like this, where I'm just free form thinking, where I'm not talking about a particular book or lore or anything like that, or playing a video game, I don't plan what I'm gonna say. I don't sit out and write scripts. One of the benefits of being someone who's been in communications for my whole career, basically my whole life, in some form or fashion, is that I can free flow pretty well. Like I can just talk. Um, I didn't, and sometimes I don't know where my thoughts are going to go. They're just, just let them flow, let it flow, let it flow. That's not how that song goes. Um, but I think, I think it's important in these internet streets that when we're having, you know, versations about, topics that are important and that can affect a lot of people, that we do our best not to spread bad feelings and hate. You know, Sometimes when people talk about stuff that's happened to them, and I get it, whatever happens to you and your point of view on that, it's valid. It's your story, it happened. But it's the dealing with it, you know. Like I used to joke that I was going to do like a TikTok channel or a YouTube channel about my dating history and all the crazy dates I've been on. But I was like, eh, that would serve nobody. All it would do was make me a target for the commentary channels, and I don't want that. Because I got stories. We all got stories. And none of those stories are edifying except the one that ended in me marrying the most amazing man who ever lived. I'll talk about that all day. Um, but when I talk about stuff like this, it's not to make people sad or feel bad for me. Like, look, I'm handling my life. I'm okay. This too shall pass. Um, but to remind us all out here in this nerdy verse that you can do it, even when it comes to the stuff that really hurts us or really changes our life in a significant way. You can get through it, and there is more life to live. I'm learning new hobbies. I'm meeting new people. You know, it's okay for life to change. Even those changes we didn't ask for. It's okay. It's okay for life to be different today than it was yesterday. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make new friends. You're gonna find new ways to occupy your time. You're gonna be open to new experiences and new things that you didn't know could be in your life before. Because I used to commiserate over the things I've lost, but you got to flip the script on loss and celebrate what you've gained. Yep, I don't have Taekwondo anymore. I've got the SCA. I don't live in Nashville anymore. But Nashville is now a vacation destination for me, not a place I live and have to trudge through. And honestly, I like it that way. I like it being a place that's a weekend getaway or a place to go hang out with some girlfriends versus the place where I'm trying to just get through every day. Um, I have an amazing family. I have a great job that I actually love. I'm getting my master's degree. Find those things that are bringing you joy in a different way. Nothing stays the way that it was. Not possible. I need black primer. That is dark neutral gray, and I don't want dark neutral gray. I think I've got some black primer in my case down here. Let's see here. Yep, there it is. The primers have been hard to come by in these hobby streets locally. We like to buy our primers locally, but nobody has them. We have to order them. I try to buy as much of my painting supplies locally as I can. Some things you can't because they just don't have them. But all my Turbo Dork comes from one shop in town. There's one guy that sells it all, every color, and I always, anytime I buy Turbo Dork locally, anytime I buy Turbo Dork, period, I get it from him. So we're just gonna paint on this part where the lance is sliding up and down. I primed it and I forgot that this moved, but we'll get some primer on there that way. It'll be ready for painting tomorrow. This will be what I work on tomorrow. I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing here and call this done for tonight because I have to let everything dry to do anything else. Don't want any mess ups there. But yeah, things are going to change. That's okay. Look around, count your blessings, name them one by one. Things might change. That's okay. The only constant in this life is change. That's it. Nothing else remains the same. I'm going to do a couple more things to this guy. This video is almost 90 minutes long. Y'all have heard enough of my voice. I can't wait to put up the short of what this guy is going to look like when he is complete. I'm really excited about it. But until then, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.